Henry, how you doing, my man? It's good to see you. Good to see you again. My weekend was great. It's even better now that I'm back home. But I got to tell you, I didn't want to come back home. It was truly amazing where I was. I had the best time in the world. There were so many things I did. The first is so weird because I extended my trip. I was supposed to be there for 10 days. And I decided, actually 9 days. I extended it to 12 days. So I was there for almost a week. The longest ever vacation I've ever taken. The longest I'd taken before was like 9 or 10 days. And it was great. It took me about 9 days to stop working. I was pretty much working 18-hour days, pretty much every day. And after day 9 or day 10, I was like, I'm done. Hey, Darlene, how are you? And so I started doing so many amazing. I went camping, I went hiking, I went horseback riding, I went, snorkeling, I went to the spa. I mean, look at me, I'm all tan now. So I'm doing this at home, not in my study. I'm in the living room, and we're gonna have a great time today. Richard, how are you? From Jamaica. Welcome, welcome. Now in the Netherlands. Wow, we have the Europeans over here. That's great. Love to see my friends come in. We'll give people a few more minutes to trickle in. I'm just going to take out this and plug it in. It's just me in here today because it's so interesting because I took the red eye, coming in, and I arrived honestly about an hour and a half ago. So I had to get the driver to come pick me up. I had to rush all the way home, set up, just me. And, I'm so proud of myself. I did it all by myself. Normally I have a crew here. But during in the heydays of the pandemic, I pretty much did it by myself. So let's see who else is coming through. And by the way, I'm going to post a lot of my pictures and I've already done a couple, the hiking one and some of the beach. I have the most amazing view, and I'll be posting a lot of it on Instagram and so on and so forth. So you'll be able to see on social and Facebook. Anyway, we'll give a few more people to come. Hi, Sheila. Good to see you. The chickens were crying. For those of you who didn't see my pictures and my videos, I had a whole herd of chicken, coming after me. I mean, I didn't do anything. I just came out the house and they ran, like 4 or 5 of them. And then, a day later, I had a whole gang of just maybe 35 of them. They were like, whose house is this? They took over my backyard. It was great. I had cats all over. I had frogs. I saw whales. It's turtle. I swam with turtle. It's really surreal. When you swim with turtle and all kinds of fish when you're snorkeling. So let's see. We'll give it another minute or so, and then we'll jump in. We have a great show today. I mean, this is probably one of the most important shows I've done. And do you realize that it's number 7 of this? This is sort of the second season. The first season was during the pandemic. It was, just me sitting and just talking. And now I have a whole team, and we've done 7. We've talked about so many things. We've talked about how to lift yourself up. We've talked about how to how to improve your credit. We've talked about picking a good bank. We've talked about not using payday lenders. We've talked about different ways to uplift yourself and make yourself a better person. And that's only the beginning. I've answered your questions, and last week I addressed the issue of student loans and how you can deal with your student loans. I showed you, hi, my Instagram friends, how are you? By the way, there were 2,600 people on Instagram last week, 2,600. You put my YouTube friends to shame. 2,600 people. At any point in time, there was maybe a couple of hundred, maybe 50 to 100, maybe 150. But then people were coming in and going over 2,600. We need to have that plus more in YouTube. So next time, bring your top 5 people to join alongside you. So I'm proud of you guys on Instagram, but please go to YouTube, and I can see you, I can talk to you, I can relate, I can answer your questions. So I know some of you guys like Instagram a lot, but please go to YouTube. That way I can interact and we can have a real community down there. Make sure to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching, hi, Danisa. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Make sure to subscribe because you can always get all this good stuff. So last week we talked about, we're going to jump in now. Last week we talked about different ways to eliminate your student debt. I showed you step-by-step instructions, like different techniques, different tools, different avenues, different structures, different places to go. I gave you detail on websites to actually go to. And I think, if you haven't done it, please do. If you have student loans, there's many, whether you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you live in a certain place, you're a certain race, you live in a certain state, whatever it is, there's ways for you to eliminate your student loans. You shouldn't be having to carry that burden all by yourself. A burden that was inherited, that was given to you at 18 years old. Anyway, today we're going to continue that session, like this whole month and maybe even a little bit into May. It's about student loans and debt and about going to college and funding and financing college. So today, we're going to talk about pretty much if you're going to college or a master's, law school, or you have a child that's going to college or a graduate school or any other type of higher education, whether it's an apprenticeship, they could do, or any number of ways, right? That you could that you need money for, because sometimes apprenticeships don't pay a lot of money. There are many ways for you to pay without taking out student loans. Did you know that? You do not have to take out student loans. Today, I'm going to show you how. No more loans. By the way, the last week, this week, and next week, if you listen to all three, you honestly will probably never need student loans anymore. So today is pretty much about grants and scholarships. This topic is amazing because the more I dug, the more information was in there. The more I dug, the more information. Did you realize there's thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands? I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself here. There's probably thousands and thousands of different scholarships and loans that you can use to avoid student debt. Many of them are based upon your need. If I need money, some of them are based upon your ability, like academic ability. Today, I'm going to open up the books. I'm going to show you where to go. I'm going to show you what kind of grants and scholarships are available. I'm going to give you websites for you to go. Log in. I'll spoon feed you. I spoon feed my clients, my financial services, the Pacific Group, I spoon feed them. So I'm going to spoon feed even though you don't pay me, but it's okay. I do this out of love. Nobody pays me anything. I'm going to spoon feed you and teach you how to pretty much avoid student loans by getting the maximum number of grants and scholarships that you need for college. So please note, last week was about eliminating debt if you have it. So please go listen to it if you haven't already. This week, hi, Tammy. I'll come back to your question. I see questions. If we have time, we'll ask a question. But remember, every month I have one question session where all I do is take questions from viewers. We're going to do that again in a couple of weeks. But I'll see if I can answer your questions. So one is last week was if you have student debt, how to eliminate it. This week was if you go into college or you have a child going to college, how to not take out student loans. And next week will be about all the different ways you can use to fund college. And after those three, you should never need student loans anymore. So first of all, let's talk about this student debt crisis, right? What I consider an epidemic. It's a student loan epidemic in America. $1.6 trillion owed. 46 million people. Both, young students and parents and grandparents. The fastest growing demographic student loans, apart from college students, is parents over 55 and grandparents over 55. Anyway, it's a real crisis. 74% of college students are stressed out about money. This was a survey done by Ohio State. 74% of college students, 74% are stressed out because of money. 33% considered dropping out or are considering dropping out. 33% of people who can't afford college are considering dropping out. Really? I've been there. I've been there. When you don't know when where food is coming from tomorrow, you're stressed out. You're supposed to study and go to classes, but you can't eat. I've been there. Should you stay? Should you not stay? Should you stay? Should you not stay? And it's sad because those people who are unable to afford college drop out. And that perpetuates this cycle of poverty, which I'm trying to break really hard. And some other really good people are trying to break it. Before taking out loans, students and parents should exhaust all the scholarships and grants available. But first, let me define the difference between a scholarship and a grant. Grants and scholarships are both types of gift aid, meaning the money is given, that's given, does not need to be earned or repaid. You don't have to pay it back. Grants are typically based on financial needs, like if you need money, right? And you don't have any money, or you don't have enough. Scholarships, on the other hand, are usually merit-based. That's based on academic excellence or athletic excellence or something else, right? It's not based upon money that you don't have. It's based pretty much on something like merit, something that you have been able to achieve in your life and that somebody is willing to give you money for. So we're going to start with grants, free money. I love free money. Grant eligibility is based on demonstrated financial need, which means you have to need money. It's usually awarded by the federal government and state governments, by the college, by federal and state governments, and by colleges and universities, right? So there's many, many, many different ways you can get grants. You have to demonstrate you have a financial need, though, right? So you take the cost of college, cost of attendance, and then you look at what you call the expected family contribution, EFC, and then we compare both of those. And whatever the difference is, how much you need versus what you have is what is considered need. Eligibility for some grants, like the Pell Grants, the federal Pell Grant, are based only on this thing called EFC, expected family contribution. But then some states, right, like Cal Grants, for example, or in New York, they have TAP grants, right? It usually involves, in addition to EFC, expected family contribution, it usually involves income, like how much you or your parents make. If the child is the one going to college, they'll look at you and your parents, and they'll see how, if you have enough money or if you have enough income. There's certain income limits. Pretty much the breakdown of grants, like who gives them, about 50% of grants are from colleges and universities. 50%. Colleges and universities. So the college you're going to probably has a grant for you if you don't have enough money. About 25% are this amazing thing for people who don't have any money or who don't have enough money called Pell Grants. It's the largest single source of grants. It uses pretty much exclusively EFC, expected family contribution. 25% is split between military student aid and state student aid, the state programs. So that makes up all the three different types, right? So 50% from colleges and universities, 25% Pell Grant, that's the government, that's the most, single source, and then 25% military aid and military student aid and state programs. Now, to apply, let me tell you something. There is one place you need to go that I'm going to show you, and that's where everything starts. I'm going to show you a lot of resources today, right? I'm going to show you places to go to get all sorts of grants. But the one place you need to start is fafsa.ed.gov. For all these grants, and a lot of these scholarships, you need to have FAFSA, right? Free application for federal student aid. Free application. Many of you have heard of FAFSA. So FAFSA is something that's very, very important. And that's where everything kind of starts. So please go to fafsa.ed.gov, and that's where you really start. Make sure to apply ASAP, okay? Some of these grants, they finish. October 1st is the day, right? The starting day. Apply on the 2nd or the 1st even. Apply quickly, right? It's always important. The early bird catches the fattest worm. I always wake up early, most of the time at least, when I'm not on vacation. Even on vacation, 5 o'clock, 5:30. I mean, that's like 8 o'clock on the East Coast. They're already making money over there. I want to make money too. I don't want them to make all the money before I get up. So apply, that's me personally, apply early because you don't want your money to be taken by somebody else. There's 4 different types of grants, right? 4, where they come from, right? And I just kind of talked about, I kind of skimmed over them earlier. It's federal. That's the government, federal government. Uncle Sam, thank you. Our taxpayer dollars. When you pay taxes, it comes back. Institutional, that's the college or the university. Private, that's corporations, foundations, and other sources. And then states. Yep, states give you money. States give you significant amounts of money. If you go to school in state, though, and if you go to certain schools or do certain specialties. So 4 different types. We're going to break each one down separately for you, right? The largest single system for student grants is the federal grants. It's out there for any American who's in need, right? If you attend community college, yes, it's available for community college. It's available for 4-year school, university, and any other career program that qualifies. You can go be an electrician. You could go be a computer coding school. You could, anything that's after high school that is qualified, you're able to get federal grants for. The government wants to give you money. It starts with the biggest one of all that you've heard about, Pell Grants. It's for undergrad students with exceptional needs. And if you to qualify, you need to show that you need money. So the difference between what you need and the difference between what you can afford, EFC, exceptional, like if you're hurting, like people who don't have, I hate to use the word poor because poor is, you could not have money, but you could be rich in spirit. And so needy or lack of resources or underserved or underrepresented. Anyway, Pell Grant gives you up to $6,345 per year. Every year, up to 12 semesters. Here's where you need to go. studentaid.gov/understand/8. Oh, it's already on there. My guys are smart. There's the website you need to go to apply for a Pell Grant. I told you I'm going to spoon feed you, right? You need to go, if you can't pay for college, or your child can't pay for college, this is really where you start. Pell Grants. There's also another one that the government gives out. I like the acronym, but it's kind of funky. It's FSEOG. It stands for Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. Students with exceptional financial needs who really need money and who haven't earned a degree yet, undergrad, that's what I mean, they can qualify for this grant. Not all schools participate though, so you need to check. You need to call your school or go online. The funds are dependent on the school and whether it's available because it runs out. And they'll give you up to $4,000 per year. That's another $4,000 per year. The federal government pays for it. What's the website to go look? It's going to pop up in a second. studentaid.gov. There you go. That's the website to go. It ends in FSEOG. I like it, but it's kind of funky, that acronym. So that's not all. If your parents were one of those heroes, one of those brave heroes who died for us during the Iraq and Afghanistan service, some of those brave soldiers who didn't come back, well, the government got you. They'll give you a grant up to $5,829.50 on top of that. $5,829. Where do you go to find that? I got the website for you. If any of these things apply to you, please go check, right? Please go online, right? And go check. Just put in, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm giving you all the website. I'll give you a couple of places at the end that will, you can just put in your name, your income. You can put in a few items of information about yourself, and they'll actually tell you what works for you. But these are good resources if any of these specific things apply to you. Teachers. There's always money for teachers because of the valuable resource they are to our society. They teach our young children. So our society needs to take care of those people who basically take care of our future, our children. There's something called TEACH, TEACH. Now that's a lot easier than FEOG or H, Teacher Education Assistance for College and Higher Education Grant. It's a long name, but it's a great way for teachers to actually get a grant for college. It's primarily for undergrad and graduate students planning to teach at the elementary level and secondary level, not college, elementary and secondary school level. They'll give you up to $3,764 per year, $3,764. But you have certain employment restrictions, right? You have to work in, elementary or secondary school. If you don't, you go work for college, or you decide not to teach, or you drop out. That grant turns into a loan. The government will charge you interest on it. You got to pay it back. You don't want that. So before you apply, make sure it applies to you. Make sure you fit the qualifications. How do you apply for a Teach grant? The website will pop up in a second. That's how you apply. Okay. What else? We're getting warm. There's a lot more. I got so much more for you over here. It's unbelievable. I got so much good stuff for you up here. Can you put the links in chat? Hey, Brandon. Yes, I think we've started doing that now. So you can actually click on it. You can go there. So I have a bunch of screens over here. So if you see me leaning from one screen to another, I got my friends on Instagram. How come you guys are still up there? You guys are supposed to be on YouTube now. You know that. And I got my YouTube, and I got Facebook. I got a bunch of screens over, and it's just me. But I've been doing this, a year and a half now, so I'm pretty good at it. Okay. Institutional grants, the second type of grant. Institutional grants, right? These typically use the financial information from FAFSA. You remember we talked about FAFSA? So you got to go to FAFSA first at fafsa.ed.gov. Go to FAFSA. It all starts with FAFSA. Institutional grants use FAFSA to determine financial aid. A majority, almost all colleges and universities have grant programs because they want you to come to the school. And, many of them have endowments. Many of them have alumni who give money. Many of them have a lot of money that they want to use partly to help people who can afford to go to college. So if you need money, a majority of schools actually give you money. But you have to contact the university. It's very specific, right? You have to contact the university that you want to attend and ask them if your program qualifies you for a grant. But remember, they use FAFSA. Don't forget. Let me give you an example. University of South Florida, USF, right? And by the way, this came from savingforcollege.com. You've heard me talk about that website. I really like it. It's a good resource for college. So please go there. If you don't, just browse and peruse. It's called savingforcollege.com. It has great information about grants and so on and so forth. So University of USF grants programs for first generation students, like first generation, like if you're the first in your family to go to college, and low-income students. So if you don't have any money, you can't afford to go to college, University of South Florida, USF will help you. And many other colleges will also. The USF Green to Gold grant program is for college freshmen who are Florida residents with an expected family contribution, EFC, remember, based on FAFSA of 0. So if your family is so, again, I don't like the word poor, but I'm going to use it here, is so financially lacking or poor that your parents can contribute or your grandparents can contribute 0 towards your education, University of Florida guide you. And there's many other schools also that guide you. Private grants, that's the third. We went through federal, we went through institutional. Now we're talking about private grants. There's so many companies out there and nonprofit organizations, so many foundations out there. We're working with some of them at Suchi, right? These are typically awarded to students who meet certain eligibility criteria. Low income for one, certain racial groups, Black people, Hispanic people, Native Americans, ethnic groups, different groups, right? I'll give you an example, 2 examples. Hispanic Heritage Foundation. They have a couple of awards. One of those is called the Youth Grant or Youth Award Grant. They give it each year, and it's intended for Latino high school seniors that excel in either of business, finance, entrepreneurship, education, health, science, media, entertainment, sports, or technology. Wow, almost any Latino can get a grant. Almost any Latino. If you're out there, you got to be getting grants. There's another organization that I participate in. I support. It's called the Links. It's an association of Black women professionals in America. LINKS. They always give a grant every year. They have grants and they actually have scholarships. They give every year to people who need, to Black students, Black undergrads who are lower income or who can't afford college. So there's many, many, many different ways that you can get money through your school or through private grants. Now, state grants. Your state is an amazing way for you to get a grant. And in many, many ways, states are, I mentioned last week that a lot of states over the last 10, 20 years have raised the cost of education, tuition costs, because many of them are hurting. Well, to make up for it, many of those same states will give you grants. Some states offer grants for people to come to their state to go to college. Sometimes it's for income based. But you have to live in the state and you have to attend college in the state, right? And so there's many, many states. I'm going to show you how to get to state grants. There's many, many ways. And I'll give you an example, right? Washington College, right? They have a grant. It's awarded to students with financial need who plan to attend school at one of Washington's eligible colleges, pretty much any school. You go to school in Washington and you qualify, they'll give you up to $11,000. I mean, go figure. It's like free money out there. It's just so much money out there, right? Where do you find the grants? So I just told you of all these amazing, you get federal grants, get institutional grant, get state grant, get private grants, like grants all over. Where do you get the grant? I'm going to give you 3 websites, 3 places, 3 databases. Now listen very carefully. It's very, very important. I'll give you 3 sources where you can go to get grants. Number 1 is called Career One Stop. I'll give you the website, don't worry. It's called Career One Stop. It's offered by the Department of Labor. It contains 8,000, let me repeat, 8,000 different types of financial aid. Grants, scholarships, fellowships, all sorts of financial aid. The website, it's on your screen. CareerOneStop.org / a few, slashes and so on and so forth, but that's a great place to start. The College Board. The College Board is great. It's a nonprofit organization that has a database of over 2,200 financial aid programs. You can use it to search for all sorts of financial aid, including grants and scholarships. What's the website? bigfuture.com / collegeboard.org. Go to bigfuture.com. There's so many, many ways, and these are just 3 ways. These are just 2 ways. I got one more for you. Scholarships.com. I know the name says scholarships, but it's actually great for grants, and this is one of the most amazing places you can go. It has a database of over 3.7 million financial aid opportunities, 3.7 million different opportunities. You know how much? $19 billion in assistance. Why aren't people taking this money? I'm curious. Katina, your daughter qualifies. Amen. Make sure to apply, okay? Make sure to apply. Nicole, if you want to find out what you in Georgia, what's available, go to scholarships.com, right? Or any of the other websites. It'll tell you, right? You can find it in. It's really easy. You got to go get your money. Go get your free money. I like free money a lot, right? Money I don't have to work for. Free money. Take it. You pay taxes, right? You pay taxes, so you're the type of person, whether it's income-based, athletic-based, whatever it is, whether it's a grant or scholarship, go take your free money. Now let's shift gears a little bit to scholarships, right? We just finished with grants. Let's talk about scholarships. Now, scholarships are very specific, right? With a grant, it's just need-based. If you need money, or your parents don't make enough money, or you don't make enough money, and you want to go back to school, you can get a grant. You get multiple grants. I know somebody who got almost 14 grants. Some as little as $1,000, some as high as $35,000. I know someone who did that. I mean, you just got to go get the money, right? Scholarships are a little bit different, right? Scholarships are based on a certain merit. You deserve it not because you couldn't afford college, but because there was something special about you. One of the most widely used is academic scholarship. Academic scholarship is if you're smart, you have a great GPA, great standardized score, stat score, you have great standardized scores, you could qualify for an academic scholarship. I have many, many clients whose kids are now, they're applying to school, they're trying to figure out where to go to school. And many of those kids are getting scholarships now because they had good grades. So one thing you always want to teach your kids, it's going to make life easier for them. It's going to make life easier for you. Life easier for you because you don't get to pay for college. They get a scholarship. The school pays or the government pays. It's better for them because they don't have to be hungry like I was in school looking for food when I should be studying. And they go to a good school, a great school, Harvard. And I like Harvard. I'm partial to Harvard, and y'all know why. But Stanford is good too. And Wharton and MIT are good too. And UCLA is good too. And UT is good too, University of Texas. But it also gets them to go to a great school without worrying about money and gets them a great start in life. So scholarships, so getting good grades are very, very important. Teach your kids, right? It's not just for them, it's also for you. Homework every day. Every day they got to do their homework. It's very, very important. You can't rely on the teachers to do this work for you. Make sure their grades are good. And imagine not having to pay $50,000 or $60,000 a year because your kid is smart. And most kids are smart, almost all. They just have to apply themselves, and it really starts with the parent. It could be for academic scholarship, could be for a college. It could be from a college. Your college could give you a scholarship, a nonprofit organization or private organization. It could cover all of tuition and all of housing or part. Let me give you an example of Duke University or the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. They offer academically gifted students something called the Robertson Scholars Leadership Program. It covers up to 8 semesters of full tuition, 8 semesters of full tuition, room and board, and most mandatory fees, like any fees that they have to pay. Imagine that, college fully paid just for having good grades. Please, the kids got to get good grades to get these scholarships. You don't have to pay for college yourself, right? Athletic scholarships. In addition to academic, there's athletic scholarships, right? These are for academic ability. Football, basketball, swimming, lacrosse, rowing. There's any number of scholarships available. They're very rare, though. Only 1% to 2% of students qualify. And sometimes it doesn't always cover all your tuition and housing needs. The average scholarship amount is $18,000. So it's not huge like you're thinking, but there is money available. Community service, right? If you participate in community, if your son or your daughter or you participate in community service, you can get money. Doing good pays off. Doing good pays off. It pays. Let me give you an example. St. Lawrence University offers a community service scholarship that's valued as much as $20,000 per year. Yikes, just for doing community service? Yes. Who qualifies? Students who are eligible and can demonstrate that they have shown a commitment to community service, past or present. Regular community service, like volunteering with a local soup kitchen, senior center, or youth group. Teach your kids to do good. In addition to doing good in school and they're getting good grades, have them do community service. Oh no, they can get money. They can get money for school if they go feed the homeless regularly. It also teaches kids empathy. In our world, I see a lack of empathy. It's almost like people don't care about other people. It's their problem, right? And we have to learn as a people to empathize with each other. Everyone's hurting. Be nice to people. They're hurting. You don't know who's hurting. So that wrong word you say, that anger you spew, may be the thing that flips the switch on that person. Or that kind word may be something that makes the person feel so good. It changes their life. A kind word could change a person's from the right person at the right time, could change a person's life. You just don't know who's who. It also teaches kids that giving is better than receiving. I'll tell you what, from my own experiences, I've been blessed. I made a lot of money, accomplished a lot, from poverty and hunger and homelessness. Went to Harvard, went to Wall Street, set up my own company, had multiple offices around the country. I had a lot of money. I still have a lot of money, but now I use that money for something different. And guess what? I am so much happier. Now, my goal in life is to give back my money, yes, which I'm giving in spades all the time. I don't want to go broke, but I'm going to give as much as I can. And um, um, giving money really helps ground a person, because when you give, you finally realize what life is about. Many of us take, and we give very sparingly. Look, when you start giving, you start getting happier. How about that? The more you give, the happier you are, right? And so it's good to teach kids, because by doing good, they not just make money, they're also happier. So make sure your kids do community service. I live downtown LA. We've got a bunch of homeless people over here. We've got a bunch of different soup kitchens over here. We've got homeless people on the street. Volunteering is very important. What other type of scholarships are available? Diversity scholarships. There's a lot of diversity scholarships out there. Some schools and organizations, they make an effort, and we're working with some of those now. Some very big foundations out there. We're working with a number of them. And there's so many of these big organizations in school, they're very passionate about encouraging and supporting kids from certain ethnic or racial groups or certain gender or religions. I'll give you an example. Also, my Latino brothers and sisters out there, the Hispanic Scholarship Fund awards $500 to $5,000 to Hispanic students in college. Go take your money, right? Go take my Latino brothers and sisters out there. Go take your money. It's out there. It's waiting for you. The Jackie Robinson Foundation. You can get up to $30,000 over 4 years to minority high school students who show leadership potential and who demonstrate financial need and a dedication to community service. Community service again. Community service pays off. It pays off in spades. You get your money back and in spades. The time you spent, you get it back in love and from all sorts of universities and foundations. They want you to do good. So if you're Black, you're Hispanic, you're Native American, you're any Chinese, you can get scholarships. You just have to look for them. I'll show you where to get them in a second, okay? How else can you get scholarships? Essays. It's as simple as essays. ESSAY. Did you realize that if you write an essay, you could get a scholarship? And some of these are large scholarships, thousands of dollars. Numerous nonprofit organizations and private companies offer scholarships that require an essay as part of the application process. Selection is based not on your GPA, like I just intimated for scholarships, which is usually based on, some merit. It's not on GPA and it's not test scores. It is pretty much based on the quality of the essay you write. And I remember the links that I mentioned that I'm not a part of because it's for women, but I participating actively every single year because it's a good thing. It's to lift the Black kids, to help them not drop out of college, because we have a very high dropout rate in our community. We need to make sure our kids stay in school so they can make money when they graduate and they can do good and they can turn around and they can help another kid. So we're helping kids now so they can help other kids. Pay it forward, we call it. And so there's one called a scholarship called Delete Cyberbullying. Delete Cyberbullying. It's an organization dedicated to promoting respect and helping victims of cyberbullying. How wonderful is that? It offers a $1,000 cyberbullying scholarship award. To qualify, all you got to do a 500-word essay. That's it. Katina, I did an essay for Harvard and received a very good score. All right. Do you remember when I went to Harvard? I'm an old man. I went to Harvard in 94 and Harvard Business School. I had to write 7 essays to get into Harvard Business School. Then, now I think it's 3 or so. They're like, that's kind of many. It takes you a long time and then they cut, they give you like limits. Word limit. I just want to write, but they give you word limit. So you have to write it, you have to rewrite it, you have to rewrite it, rewrite it. It takes a long, long time to write 7 essays. Luckily, I was able to knock it out and get admitted. But essays, just apply. Just get your child to write an essay and they could get free money. It's as easy as that. Musical talent. Eligibility is based on an applicant's musical ability, such as instrumentalist, a composer, a singer. If you want to sing, if you want to be a singer or a composer, there's schools that'll give you scholarships. That'll give you scholarships. Yes, scholarships. Eligibility depends on your school, though. Your school has to offer it. So do the research. If you want to go study singing or an instrument or composing, whatever it is, make sure your school offers a certain a scholarship, right? There's private and nonprofit organizations too that offer this kind of scholarships. Let me give you an example. Elizabethtown College, right? Incoming students, regardless of major, you don't even have to study music, can qualify for a music performance scholarship. To qualify, you have to audition, either through a video recording or in-person performance. That's it. I mean, there's just so much money out there that you got to take. Let me give you one you're going to like. There's one called Unique Traits, right? For scholarships for unique traits. Like the name implies, you can get a scholarship for a unique hobby or a skill or certain traits or many, many other reasons. It's just, they just want to give you money. Let me give you one. There's a scholarship for the best duct tape. There's a scholarship up to $10,000. So I'm not joking. I'll give you the website. Just because I laughed, which I shouldn't have because it's real, I'll give you the website. It's a scholarship for the best duct tape prom outfit. So if you duct tape, you got a nice, beautiful tuxedo or your prom. If you can be creative with duct tape, right? The duct tape company will give you up to $10,000. You can make your outfit all of duct tape, half of duct tape, whatever you do. Where to go? Ducttape.com. Duckbrand.com. Duckbrand.com. Right? That's where to go. And make sure to get your $10,000. How many people are qualified? How many people don't even know about this? Many people don't even know. So, go take your money. Anyway, we're coming to an end, but let's see. I mean, this is fun. I mean, for me, it's great. I mean, I get to give you information you can use. And even if 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or 50 of you use it, that makes me happy. Please let me know. Send me an email, daveswealthlessons.com. Send me an email to let me know what type of scholarship or grant you got from listening to the show. I want to know. I want to experience it with you. That's why I do it. I want to do it. I do it because it'll help you, and helping you makes me happy. And when I find out what I told you, what I spent so much time getting for you, the information I spent, getting and delivering for you is working, it makes me happy. So please let me know, right, if any of these things are successful, and be specific. I'm going to give you 4 ways. I gave you 3 ways to get your grants. I'm going to give you 4 ways to get this. I'm going to give you, Trine said I should save this live. Oh, I'm absolutely saving it. I'm saving it. And you can always go to my YouTube channel. Just type in David Adefeso channel, and it's called Wealth Demystified. And you can rewatch this show. So I know some of you want to take notes, and some of you are clicking on the chat to go to the websites. You can always rewatch the show. I'm going to give you 4 ways to get scholarships. 3 of them are the same way I gave you to get grants. And I'm going to add 1 more. I'm going to throw in a little teaser. The first is called Career One Stop. Career One Stop. It's offered again by the Department of Labor, 8,000 scholarships and grants and fellowships. You can get grants, get scholarships, get any number of aid. Go there. Go check it out. The second one, and I've already told you these before, the second one is called College Board. It's a nonprofit organization that has a database of 2,200 financial aid programs. 2,200. The third, which I also already gave you, is called scholarships.com. It has a database of over 3.7 million financial aid opportunities. 3.7 million with $19 billion available. Go take your money, my friends. It's out there. You can create a profile. So you go in there and you put your profile in there. You create a profile. And then they match you, right? It's amazing because they actually match you with grants that work for you. So please make sure scholarships.com. I'm going to give you one more. It's called FastWeb. This is similar to scholarships.com, and you can search for different scholarships. You can also create a profile, and the site will send you scholarships that match your profile. FastWeb.com. FASTWEB.com. Those are the 4 ways. There's many, many more, but I don't want to overwhelm you. Before I end, I want to give you a few general rules about scholarships, right? Many people would fill out the FAFSA, right? Free application for federal financial aid, right? Many people would fill it out because of grants. But many people won't fill it out for scholarships. Please do. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you. Many scholarships require you to fill out FAFSA, right? The second thing I'm going to tell you is review your application requirements very, very carefully. Some organizations have very strict rules, right? Such as fonts. They want you to write in a certain font. If you don't comply, they won't give it to you. If they say Garamond and you write in Times New Roman, you don't get it. Well, they're probably not going to say Garamond. They might say Times New Roman and you write it in Garamond, you don't get it. They just they put it aside. If you don't follow the guidelines, you could lose out on a lot of opportunity. Even if you're a great candidate, even if you qualify. So make sure to read the rules. One may work. Times New Roman may work for one. Garamond may work for Garamond is probably not going to work. Maybe Calibri may work for the other. The font, but please make sure to follow the rules. Pay attention. The last and final thing I'm going to tell you about scholarships, and this works for grants too. Pay attention to deadlines. Scholarship deadlines are fixed. They don't change. You don't go May 1st and then June 1st. No, it's fixed one day. It's not flexible. They're not going to move it for you. Complete your application and submit your application well ahead of the deadline. Don't wait for the deadline. Please submit on day 1 or day 2. Remember about the early bird? Please. There's so much money out there for you, my friends. So much money for you to take. Go take it. It's for college. It's for your child. It's a good cause. Don't be guilty. Do the work. It'll save you a lot of money. So, next week, it's going to be the third and final episode of Eliminating Student Debt and Funding College. Next week, we're going to talk about the different ways to fund college. Pros and cons. The first way, of course, is scholarships and grants. You got to go explore these first. You got to explore these ones first. But if you don't qualify for scholarships, or you don't qualify for grants, or you still have a need based on the cost of the college and how much you or your parents make, then next week is invaluable. I'm going to teach you the step-by-step ways. I'm going to give you the pros, and I'm going to give you the cons, the benefits, and the not-so-good things about each of those ways to save for college. And we're going to have fun. And then the week after that, we'll take questions, on college and scholarships and so on and so forth. So anyway, someone asked a question, do you know of any grants or scholarships surrounding Howard University? It's actually interesting because I'm working, Brandon the Beat asked that. Hey, Brandon, how are you? Good to see you, man. It's interesting because we've partnered up with a Lighthouse School District, which is in Arkansas. It's underserved, underrepresented. Mostly it's like 90% Black. And many of them are underserved. And, there's not a lot of money out there. And they've partnered up with Howard University to help elevate those kids and get them into Howard or some other college, which is really amazing. Howard has a lot of different grants available. Howard has quite a number of grants. I was talking to a good friend of mine, a good client and a friend who was considering donating a large sum of money to Howard because he went to Howard College and I believe the law school. And he told me about the founder of Marriott. I forget I think Bill Marriott, who actually has a fund, a scholarship fund dedicated for Howard. They use that money for kids like yours. And so if you want to go to Howard, start now. Go to scholarship.com, call Howard. You should be able to get a grant that you need. You shouldn't have to get student loans. I don't want any of you to ever have to get a student loan or have to put a student loan on your child. Those student loans, they hold kids back, right? They hold kids back in life. That kid should be traveling around the world. That kid should be, putting money in his 401k. That kid should be enjoying life and, starting a startup, But how do you start a startup or travel around the world when you got $850 a month you got to pay in student loans and you're only making like $42,000 a year? You can barely feed yourself, talk less of pay student loans and pay your bills. So I don't want your kids to get student loans. I want your kids to get scholarships and grants and then to be able to fund college themselves. Any idea about Canadian scholarships? There's probably tons. This is limited. Queen Imam asked that. This is limited to the U.S., most of the scholarships, but there's tons and tons and tons of scholarships that are for Canadian citizens in the U.S. universities. And there's also scholarships for Canadians in Canada. There's a lot. I know Canada is a very giving society and they're very altruistic in many, many ways. So yes, there are scholarships, but lots of scholarships available in Canada. Call your school, the school you're thinking of going and go find it. Let's see that's it for today. We've had a good time on this call. I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Next week again is going to be the different ways to fund for, let's say you don't qualify for a scholarship, let's say you don't qualify for a grant, you have a child going to college or you're going to school yourself, and it doesn't have to be college. It could be to be an electrician, could be to a coder, it could be to go learn a trade school. Same thing. I'm going to show you all the ways you can use, all the smart ways. I'm going to help you pick one that works for you, just so your kid never has to take out a student loan. Thank you, and God bless.